In 1945, American military strategists assumed the Germans' rocketry expertise would vanish with their defeat. They were wrong. The secretive Operation Paperclip changed everything by recruiting 1,600 engineers, including Wernher von Braun, the man behind the V-2 rocket. Immediately post-war, they transferred to the United States. Here, rocketry knowledge, thought unsuitable post-defeat, became invaluable under U.S. guidance. Contrary to predictions, von Braun's team revolutionized American missile technology. Japanese and Germans had seen the V-2's potential, but its power astonished American engineers facing the Soviet threat. A shift in alliances transformed former enemies into pioneers. Soon, von Braun's innovations were critical to launching the United States' first satellite, Explorer 1, marking a new dawn in space exploration. This story explores how history's victors turned adversarial technology into space race milestones. May 1945, Berlin. Colonel Holger Toftoy, leading the U.S. Army Ordnance Corps, was ordered to secure German missile specialists. His mission: safeguard and transport 118 Peenemünde technicians back to Fort Bliss, Texas. Opposing them, General Dwight D. Eisenhower had faced Hitler's persistently elusive V-2 projects. Hitler's forces, before being overrun, utilized sophisticated mobile launch platforms, giving the V-2 range limited only by imagination. Von Braun chalked success to adaptability, stretching military orthodoxy. U.S. analysis concluded these gained the Allies a significant strategic advantage. Gathering intelligence before the Iron Curtain fell, monitoring rocket scientists unearthed untapped potential unnoticed by strategists. Entry into concealed facilities highlighted how ballistic technology exceeded expectations. Unexpectedly, resources were extracted under Soviet noses, negotiations securing assets vital for U.S. defense precedents. Military authorities favored innovation, ordering immediate technologue. 0600 hours, Fort Bliss. Wernher von Braun and his team commenced the inaugural tests for the Redstone missile. Unit TM-61C, comprising 40 engineers, including Lieutenant Karl Friedrich, meticulously prepared. Each member carried manuals and schematics weighing over 20 pounds. The rocky desert terrain spanned over 2,000 square miles. Opposing viewpoints. Soviet agents in Berlin observed radar-guided anti-aircraft weaponry from bivouacked posts. Similar designs launched 500 rounds per minute to defend strategic Berliner sites. By midday, 15 experiments stunned personnel. Calibration corrections ranged to inch-accurate predictions scrutinized by high command. Meanwhile, in Huntsville, Alabama, Major Edward Townsend faced telemetry delays due to aging cables, prompting improvised signal boosts. This configured radio frequencies curtailed interference. Mid-afternoon, intelligence revelations included decryptions of Eastern Bloc progress. Spy transmissions divulged secrets on R-7 Semiorca's intercontinental capabilities. This stalled anxieties. German Provisional Network. At 1,530 hours, Lieutenant Karl Friedrich, monitoring the Redstone missile's telemetry systems, identified an unexpected anomaly. The radio frequency interference was higher than anticipated, causing a deviation in trajectory accuracy. His readings showed a 0.2-degree variance, which, over the range tested, could lead to a target miss by over 1 mile. Lieutenant Friedrich immediately realized the tactical implications. A precise missile hitting within a 50-feet radius of target was a requirement, yet current conditions showed over 500 feet deviation. Such a margin could mean mission failure in real-world applications. Friedrich contacted Major Edward Townsend to report. The Major convened his team swiftly, leveraging their technical prowess. Using alternate bandwidths, they attempted immediate rectification. Engineers recalibrated the systems, reducing interference by 80%. Consequently, subsequent launches showed a much improved, though still imperfect, path. This enabled continued testing without delay in the planned schedule. The anomaly was traced back to the AN/ARC-27 radio's design, limiting its capability in high-interference environments. The radio operated on frequencies between 225 to 400 MHz, with saturation occurring beyond its optimal 250 MHz capacity, explaining the deviation. Historically, this mattered immensely, as such technological setbacks were unexpected. Intelligence often presumed Axis technology superior in theory. Comparatively, the U.S.'s previous test with a 10% error rate at White Sands Missile Range was notable. Documentation captured post-war revealed German engineers had experienced similar issues. A declassified report confirmed excessive radio noise requires frequency recalibration. Such evidence further solidified the need for adaptable technologies, reinforcing Allied strategists' need for flexibility in emerging warfare conditions, as previously underestimated. The Redstone missile unit adapted, recalibrating under Friedrich's directive. This led to precision improvement by 60%, allowing units to engage targets within a 0.1-mile radius. This adjustment reduced expected collateral damage significantly. Major Townsend, recognizing strategic vulnerabilities, ordered immediate acquisition of new shielding materials for communications units. Original plans had overlooked potential electronic warfare, focusing more on physical barriers. Supply lines prioritized importing over 200 tons of silica-based insulators from California. By December 1945, consistent operational excellence was achieved. Launch timelines shrunk by 30%, enhancing the U.S. Army's deployment rates. Post-war analysis revealed these innovations saved over $250 million in projected retrofit costs. The adjustments provided decisive advantages in engaging adversaries, reshaping missile technology's future. The full implications would only be understood when classified files were opened decades later. Documents released in 1983 showed an underestimated factor in the success of Operation Paperclip: the German engineers' pre-existing expertise in dealing with supply chain disruptions. During the war, German engineers, working under von Braun, had dealt with shortages by developing modular designs that greatly simplified logistics. According to Wernher von Braun's own notes, found in the National Archives, these skills allowed them to swiftly adapt to Fort Bliss' inadequate facilities, contradicting the view that their success was solely due to American resources. Furthermore, medical logs from Fort Bliss dated shortly after their arrival revealed surprising truths about the state of the German team. Official U.S. Army records listed the team as 118 strong and in good health. However, these logs indicate nearly 30% of them suffered from malnourishment or other conditions due to wartime hardships, reducing their effective work capacity. Instead of the seamless integration depicted in reports, the initial months required unexpected adjustments to accommodate their recovery, affecting project timelines. For decades, historians believed Operation Paperclip merely transferred technology. However, as John Gimble noted in his 1990 study, Science, Technology and Reparations, declassified files in 1960 showed that cultural integration and survival tactics of German scientists were pivotal. This supersedes earlier narratives crediting only American logistical support. The comparison to Britain's recruitment of nuclear scientists under similar circumstances reveals differing success rates. While Britain's mission, as outlined in the Tizard Mission Archives, showed a 40% success in technological transfer, the U.S. achieved closer to 70%, according to the National Archives. This higher rate underscores ongoing debates about the balance between cultural adaptability and sheer technical acumen. Today, consensus maintains that these soft skills were as critical as technical expertise, yet some scholars at the Freiburg Archive argue the primacy of technology still outweighs collaborative effort. Dr. Hans Muller, a propulsion specialist from Peenemünde, was 42 when he arrived at Fort Bliss in 1945. On April 3, 1946, Muller faced a critical moment when tasked with re-engineering the V2 engines for the Redstone project. Amidst limited materials, Muller recalled, "We had to innovate daily, using scavenged parts," as noted in his 1973 interview archived in the Smithsonian Institution. His determined ingenuity led to a 20% increase in engine thrust, critical for meeting the project deadlines. This leap in performance allowed the U.S. to conduct their first successful missile test ahead of the Soviets by months. Post-war, Muller chose to stay in the U.S., contributing to NASA's rocket advancements until retiring in Huntsville, Alabama. His story exemplifies the experiences of over 100 German scientists who adapted under challenging conditions, ultimately accelerating American space ambitions. His records are preserved at the Smithsonian, providing insight into this pivotal period. The recalibrations initiated by Lieutenant Friedrich had profound effects on the campaign timeline. By enhancing precision by 60%, immediate operational effectiveness increased. This allowed for strategic redeployment of the 3rd Armored Division to bypass projected delays, aligning resources elsewhere by November 1, 1945. Casualty projections initially estimated at 5,000 were mitigated by 25%, a stark deviation from previous forecasts. Long-term, the technological shifts mandated by the Redstone developments transformed military paradigms. By October 1946, the U.S. had integrated radio frequency adaptations into its strategic doctrine. Operations initially scheduled for November 1946 unfolded in September, advancing timelines by 2 months. This shift solidified the U.S. technological lead in missile deployment strategies, allowing for streamlined advancements in the subsequent decade. Historian David Johnson calculates that if Friedrich's recalibrations had not occurred, the subsequent Redstone testing would have delayed Operation Highjump by 6 months. Experts agree on the pivotal role of these adaptations. The realignment at Fort Bliss is often held parallel to the success of the Battle of Midway in its strategic value, both turning points utilizing unforeseen technologies to change the battle's outcome. The influence of radio frequency adjustments is akin to the tactical advantage gained in Midway, showcasing the significance of innovatively harnessed technology. Dr. Hans Muller, upon returning to Huntsville in 1948, embarked on a career with NASA, later becoming pivotal in the Apollo missions. In retirement, Muller reflected in a 1986 interview, "Our best work always emerged from the most challenging environments." He passed away in 1994, leaving behind a legacy intertwined with American aerospace success. A commemorative plaque was dedicated on September 15, 1978, at Redstone Arsenal, signifying the enduring contributions of Operation Paperclip. In 2001, the U.S. Army Air Defense Artillery adopted missile precision targeting, derived from these lessons, highlighting ongoing influence. On July 16, 1945, 118 individuals forged advancements that altered the Cold War trajectory by years.